Come, whoever you are. You are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. You're welcome here, whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears. You're welcome here. No matter what you've experienced in the past, no matter what awaits in the future, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you're welcome here. This is a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. You are welcome here at South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. And good morning. Let's hear you again. Good morning. Woo! We're here. We're together. It's so wonderful. And wow, what a way to start. Clara, thank you. John, Rick. I'm Brenda. My pronouns are she and her, and I welcome you today. As we're emerging from this time of pandemic, we'll be gentle with each other and compassionate for all gathered. We're keeping our masks on for now. And we're thoughtful as we approach people, because I always want to hug everyone, and so I just make sure you really want to hug yet or not. And please do sing, though, with your masks on. There will be hymns that we'll sing together. And we do want to extend a warm welcome to anyone who's new here today. Is there anyone new here today? Oh my gosh, yay! Welcome, you guys. Thanks for finding us. We're so glad you're here. And we do have a number of things going on in this fabulous community. So one is that we do have a pastoral care team. If you feel a need for connection, or you're going through something difficult, please do let that team know, either by filling out the card that's on the website, telling Reverend Laura, our minister, and then there is a team that helps her with that. We also have our religious education director, Rob, and Grace, his assistant, and they run a beautiful program for our youth and kids. Today, the kids get to stay with us. I see they're already making use of our cool kids area back there, so please do feel free, kids and young at heart, feel free to use that area today. And we do have a Happenings weekly newsletter, so if you would like to be getting that, you can subscribe to that. There is a virtual order of service that hopefully people saw the signs as they came in and put your phone up there and got it. There's a way to connect through that as well. We are going to go on a trip to the Great Salt Lake on Sunday, April 10th. And so please put that in your calendars. It'll be an amazing event. We are splitting our offering for most of March and April with the great Friends of the Great Salt Lake, and they're going to give us some connection to the Great Salt Lake. It will be an afternoon of public witness and education about this beautiful resource that we're all concerned about. And we do have food trucks on site every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Has anyone gone and gotten food from those? Some folks have. Isn't it good? Yeah. Maureen and I had hibachi grill that was yummy, and we had some wood-fired pizza. And so please do start coming to those if you haven't. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 to 8, out in our parking lot. Okay. And again, welcome, everyone. Let us do our opening hymn. It's in the blue teal, if you hopefully picked one up on your way in, and it is 1031.
filled. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Standing for the chalice lighting. Thank you. We should have told you ahead of time. We're going to light our chalice now. And we're going to say our words together that are in the order of service. And we have actions that go with those, for those who want to do that. And so we light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action.
Wondering why the chairs are in this configuration today. We have a intergenerational ritual of repairing hearts. That'll make it a little easier. And so we put ourselves in the round today. Sounds like I need to be slightly adjusted, Stephen. Yep. I'll keep. Oh. It's hard to move that. Reminder to turn off. It should be on its own channel, yeah? That's okay. Oh, okay. All right, is this maybe not going to work today? We'll try one more time. That sounds like it's a little better. Okay, we'll give it a try. Can I go in front of the speakers there?
I don't know. Try it.
All right. Well, maybe just go a little more forward. How's that? Is that better if I go here? Okay, well, I'm just going to adjust all the way. Ooh. Okay. This is not what I had planned, but okay, so as we gather this morning in our beautiful round, let's do so and sort of set our feet on the ground, knowing that this is sacred and holy ground, made holy not by a sacrament coming from outside of community, but because we are part of the earth. We are connected to the land. And this land is also an ancestral land for many, many thousands of years, home to the Paiute, Goshute, Shoshone, and Ute tribes. Let us walk sacredly and carefully and gently on this land, knowing that in many cases it was unceded land, and that there is a violent history that we are called to walk with and to help repair for the benefit of all those who call this place home, be they of 2 legs, 4 legs, wings, or no legs at all, and all of its people. And as this is the spring equinox, and the birthday of Albert Einstein, I would say. I have a reading from Nanano Sakuki, and they write, within a circle of 1 meter, you sit, pray, and sing. Within the shelter of 10 meters, you sleep well, and rain sounds a lullaby. Within a field of 100 meters large, raise rice and goats. And within a valley 1,000 meters large, gather firewood, water, wild vegetables, and amantis. And within a forest 10 kilometers large, you may play with raccoons and hawks, poison snakes, and butterflies. Mountainous country, 100 kilometers large, where someone lives leisurely, they say. Within a circle of 10,000 kilometers large, go to see the southern coral reef in summer, or winter drifting ices in the sea. Within a circle of 10,000 kilometers large, walking somewhere on the earth, within a circle of 100,000 kilometers large, swimming in the sea of shooting stars, within a circle 1,000,000 kilometers large, upon the spaced out yellow mustard blossoms, the moon in the east, the sun in the west, within a circle 10 billion kilometers large, pop far out into the solar system, within a circle 10,000 light years large, the galaxy full blooming in spring. Within a circle of 1 billion light years large, Andromeda is melting away into snowy cherry flowers. And now, within a circle 10 billion light years large, all thoughts of time and space are burnt away. There you sit, pray and sing. Just sit, pray, and sing. Let us worship.
Good morning, church.
Good morning.
On this equinox, during this time change, a tale from Native American literature for a time such as this. Once long ago, the days and the nights were of varying lengths. Brother Sun made some of the days very long and made some of the nights even longer. And many of the animals did not like this. They wished that the days were more regulated and even as they are now. So the animals got together and formed a committee. Maybe they were Unitarians. To ask Brother Sun to better regulate the day length. There were many animals on the committee, but two of the notable ones were grizzly bear and frog. They were the two that were chosen by the rest of the committee to survey all of the animals. So grizzly bear wanted one long day and one long night. He ate all day and slept all night. Sounds pretty good. Long days and nights seemed very logical to him. Frog, on the other hand, wanted shorter days and nights. Frog did not live very long, and he wanted his rest and feeding time to be spread out so that he could enjoy them. Grizzly bear was kind of a big bully of a bear. He sauntered around speaking to each of the animals about the length of the days and nights. Because he was a bully, he growled at each animal. 6 months day, 6 months night. He showed his big teeth and long claws, and he growled at the fox. 1 long day, 1 long Urgh. Grizzly growled to Owl. Urgh, 6 long days, 6 long months of night, 6 long months of day. Urgh. He saw Fish. 6 months day, 6 months night. Urgh. And after every animal was talked to, Grizzly wandered off into his den and took a long nap. Frog, on the other hand, was a sociable sort of fellow. He hopped from place to place, listening to what the animals had to say. And it didn't matter to Fish what the day length was. Swimming could be done at night as well as during the day. Now, the fox preferred dawn and dusk and wanted many of those at fairly regular intervals. Owl, on the other hand, liked to hunt at night, but enjoyed sleeping during the day. Periods of 6 months of day and 6 months of night, that was way too long for Owl. After listening to all the animals, Frog returned to the committee to report. After Frog's report, the committee looked around for Grizzly. Well, Grizzly, being a big bully, was sure that the rest of the animals would vote his way, of course, and did not bother to wake up from his long nap. Committee report. The committee weighed all the possibilities and choices, taking into consideration the options and opinions of all of the animals that were surveyed. They voted. Eagle was sent to tell Brother Sun of their decision. Brother Sun agreed that their choice was possible and changed the day length to be what we know today. The days in winter were to be short and progress to being longer until midsummer, when they were again beginning to shorten. The nights were to be just the opposite, going from long in the winter to short in the summer. Frog was so happy about his part in the decision that he hopped from place to place, croaking in a chirpy little voice, "One day, one night, one day, one night." I think I can hear some frogs out there chirping. Can we hear? Oh, yeah. One day, one night. He was so proud of himself, and his descendants are also proud. In fact, if you listen quietly, just after the sun sets, you may hear the frogs still croaking. One day, one night. One day, one night.
Now it's
It's so wonderful to look out and see all of you folks here. Some people who I've known for 30 years, David Vickery, Mellings, Antoinette. I can't really see, but yeah. This is my community. I was at First Church when I first moved here in the early 80s. And when Dick Henry, a phenomenal minister, retired and Tom Goldsmith came, it was the exact same time that Barbara Hamilton came to this church. And I was encouraged to come and check her out because she was wonderful. And she was. And I got very involved quickly, was president of the board, and helped negotiate some of the rigmarole in buying this building. You all, this community, are why I come to South Valley, and I consider you family, chosen family, friends, part of my tribe. It's wonderful in Utah to have a place where we all know that we, in general, we think alike. I mean, we are worried about the environment, we are worried about politics, we're worried about individual freedom, and it's comforting to come to a place where you know you're walking into that environment and the people here support me and I support you. I've been through marriages, births, deaths, divorces, new loves, the coming out struggles of so many. And part of our history is that we didn't do so well in the beginning with the welcoming congregation program. We struggled. It was hard in the early 90s to be and stand up for gay rights, lesbian and gay rights. I came here as a missionary for the Equal Rights Amendment. That was a program that the National Organization for Women had, trying to pass the Equal Rights Amendment. And what we were doing is copying the Mormon method of going door to door and saying, may I bear my testimony? So we walked around like a precinct coverage during an election and went through and just knocked on every door and told people why we were here and what we wanted our legislature to do, even though we knew that that was not going to happen. But coming here from a more liberal environment and going, oh my gosh, I'm here with a sea of LDS, go to church on Sunday, what am I going to do on Sunday? So I decided that's how I got involved. And I probably started out giving $5 a week. I'm talking about pledging now. and gradually I've increased it and increased it and increased it. And I hope that you can think about doing that as well. This place needs money to run. And I've recently gone on the personnel committee, and let me tell you, we need money to pay for our wonderful minister, for Rob, our RE director, for James, our sexton, Bailey, our assistant in the office. These are all jobs that people have, and they get benefits, and they work for us, and we need the money to pay them. So I'm encouraging you, pay attention to the pledge drive that's happening now, and consider how much money you feel this church is worth to you, and contribute as much as you can. We used to say contribute until it hurts, and then give a little more. And I will say that as the years go by, I've given more and more, and it like, all of a sudden, it's like it's not a thing anymore. I mean, I have part of life. So I'm hoping that you will give what you can, and it doesn't always have to be money. You can give your time and your talents, as well as your treasure. And I really want to thank Scott Renshaw for being Pledge Drive director. It's one of the most rewarding and hardest jobs that you can take on in church life. So please give generously. Look around at the people who are sitting by you and think of what your life would be without them. This is a place I can come and know my back is covered. I can ask for help and get it. I can know people well enough to say, something, you don't seem right today, do you need a hug? I mean, so these are all reasons to give to South Valley, and I hope that you all feel the commitment that I feel, or that you're growing into that. This is a wonderful place that we've created, and we must nurture it to keep it going. So thank you. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Luce. As Lucy said, this community is, of ourselves, and we give of our time and talent and treasure. And each Sunday we take an offering. This Sunday, most Sundays we share our offering with another organization in town. This Sunday, it's all going to go to the people of Ukraine. So the Community Foundation of Utah is being led by our First Lady, Cox, and they are putting together a package of donations, cash and in kind, to send to people in Ukraine. There's a $2 million match available. Congregations across Utah are being part of this. I don't know if anyone else had the experience. Yesterday I came across a bake sale on the side of the road for Ukraine. Everyone's pitching in. Susan, can you wave? Susan's taking in-kind donations today of clothing and hand and feet warmers and that kind of thing. And you can talk to her more about that too. In the foyer, after she'll be out front. So all of our donations today for our offering will go to this purpose. And so please join me in our offertory words. They're in the order of service, if you need them. And we say together, we are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts.
For all we have received and all we have found the courage to give, may these gifts be a blessing on the people of Ukraine. I know that our hearts are torn by the war that has broken out in Ukraine. For even though for many decades we were in conflict internationally in Afghanistan and Iraq, somehow this one feels different. Somehow our hearts feel differently pulled. Let's just take a moment and just sit with that, knowing that we are not officially at war, but we feel as if we are pulled into that conflict. This morning we are, I think I'm just going to abandon this. All right. So, a story for you this morning. And this is a story about how two Pyrex baking dishes, one oblong and rectangular and one square, provided me with an opportunity for spiritual growth. And while it may seem odd that Pyrex can produce delicious casseroles as well as fodder for enlightenment, my only comment on that is that in my case, the sacred seems perfectly comfortable in baking metaphors. When I was a child, these two baking dishes were used for special occasions. The baking of brownies or lasagna, as well as regular everyday, weekday casserole, almond chicken, and others from the Bisquick community. In either case, they made a regular appearance on the kitchen table, and they were infinitely practical in that they could be used in the oven, washed in the dishwasher, and even had, at that time, woven holding baskets with handles so they could be taken to potlucks and family gatherings. I'm sad to say that those retro holders did long ago. After my mother passed away, these sat empty, collecting dust instead of serving up warmth and love, unused and unnoticed until my father was moving to a new home and he needed to downsize to a smaller kitchen. He certainly never baked or cooked. That was my mother's sphere alone. And so the dishes made their way to me. And over the last 30 years, these two dishes have served up many a delicious meal. They made cake for both of my children's first birthdays and have survived many, many moves up and down the coast of California and now 2 different homes here in Utah. These dishes have been in use for over 50 years. And neither one has a chip or a crack or a serious scratch. When they came to me, though, these dishes had acquired spots of baked at the handles and the edges that were very difficult to remove. And no matter how much I scrubbed or how many times I went through the dishwasher, I couldn't remove that muck. So I learned to overlook the burned-on muck. It bothered me, but as a motherless daughter, I didn't have anyone to ask about their upkeep. And YouTube was not a thing yet, so don't tell me after the service you could have just YouTubed it, because that was not my experience at that point. Now I would know. And I was busy. So eventually, though, the burnt-on muck got to be so thick that I stopped using them, and the dishes began to collect dust once more. So some time passed, and I decided that perhaps I should think about just replacing them. They had done their job, I reckoned, and besides, what was I hoping to gain from hanging on to something just because it had belonged to my mother when it was no longer usable? So I found myself wandering through the cooking section of Kmart, Target, even Williams-Sonoma, looking for my replacement bakeware. But strangely, I didn't buy any. I would find the items I needed and place them in my cart, only to put them back on the shelf and walk out of the store. Something was certainly holding me back. I had excuses. Maybe they weren't the right size or the right depth, or maybe I should wait for a sale. I didn't have time to wait in line that day. Whatever it was, I am slightly embarrassed to admit that this looky-loo went on for months. Months. I would think about the replacement all the time. It was becoming this sort of quiet obsession, and it seemed to stick with me for the time. I told myself each time I wandered through the cooking aisle that this time I would commit. But I knew I wouldn't, and I didn't. Then one Sunday morning, a colleague of mine offered a sermon on the practice of repair. My colleague preached that morning about our disposable culture, how we used to take the time to repair and restore our things. How there used to be repair shops in every town. But now, it was easier and cheaper to throw away a broken item rather than to try and repair it. And as he spoke, I began to feel something. It dawned on me that perhaps my resistance to replacing my Pyrex dishware was something more than a passing annoyance or strange obsession. And I began to wonder if there was some way to repair the Pyrex. They were not broken, just a little ugly. And as I wondered, I became convinced that I had to at least try. So after church that day, I went straight home and took out the 2 dishes, ran the hot water in the sink and with some soap, and found some steel wool. And I went to work. Now I know I could have used barkeeper's friend. But I didn't know that. And I went to work. And so it took me about 45 minutes. And I scrubbed, and I rinsed, and I scrubbed, and I scrubbed, and I scrubbed. And as I slowly worked away at that muck, the baked-on grease began finally to loosen and to wash away. And underneath, a perfect Pyrex surface began to reveal itself. And finally, the last speck of muck rinsed clean, and I could not believe it. I didn't need new bakeware at all. I already had 2 beautiful Pyrex dishes looking brand new as if they were fresh out of the box. And all these months of wandering through the aisles of the cookware, I had everything I needed already. And something sort of quiet broke open in me that afternoon and welled into tears. And I stood there crying into the soapy sink water, and I felt a new sense of freedom to myself, to my mother, and to my Pyrex cookware. A strange connection, but a strong one nevertheless. And I have not forgotten it since. It was a mending, and my tears were but a sign that the repair was now complete. Perhaps our hearts are more like Pyrex than we might imagine. Useful, hardy, meant to be used for decades, but at times also covered with years of accumulated gunk and a hearty dose of curiosity, and the application of a bit of elbow grease may finally rinse clean the unscratched beauty of our heart underneath. And so that is what I would invite us as a community gathered here this morning to begin to practice, a repair of our hearts. In a moment, Rick will begin playing some music, and you are invited to come forth as you wish to one of the trays at the front and to rake the sand and to add a stone And if I could have the two of you come forward and just grab these stones for us. You're invited to take a stone if you'd like. You don't have to deposit it into the sand. You can keep it and hold it. You may stay in your chair and just think about those things in your life which maybe are in need of repair, and the hardiness of your own heart, the unscratched nature underneath the accumulation. Our ritual this morning is designed to highlight and honor our own hearts, similar to that Japanese practice of sensukuroi, which many of you may be familiar with, that the broken pottery is mended together with gold paint, making the item more valuable than it was before. The metaphorical concept behind this is a belief that objects and people became more beautiful the longer they exist. And that when we highlight or emphasize our imperfections, and we visualize the mends and the seams, these are adding to our deeper beauty, to that deepness that is within. Again, please join as you feel called and as you feel comfortable. I invite you to approach this process with a sense of curiosity about what your heart may have to share with you. And I invite you just to go with whatever comes up. Let your mind be at rest, even if it doesn't make sense. So let us be silent for a moment and make space for our ritual to begin. O earth, wrap me. Let me fall on your earth breast. Place me while I sleep in your shade. Let your eye keep headed. Hide me. Warm me with cloister me around hours. Fresh me, springs and living water. Draw me down into your well of rebirth, and let my wounds open and empty into your wonderful compost pile. Then fill me with your fruit and bread. Start over, let my wounds become fertile gardens, and let me be. Let me live again.
I am the Earth Mother who loves without regret, tending all my children who through tears have paid all their debts.
O you of wounded spirits, I offer you a place of rest. Walk among my mountains and climb to eagle's nest. Come swim in my oceans or feel my desert's fire. Sit beside running waters. Reclaim your heart's desire.
Seek my or walk my oceans. Travel the deepest jungles till you hear my love's refrain. I'm always waiting to allow each child to heal, to cradle the wounded spirits and teach them how to feel.
I am the Earth Mother who loves without regret, tending all my children who through tears have paid all debts. Our ritual of repair comes to its close, and the children are invited to play their frogs. One day, one night, one day, one night, trusting that the heart will heal, that all will be well. One day, one night, one day, one night. And may the next time you hear the beautiful sounds of nature, be they crickets, frogs, or something in between, may you too be reminded that your heart, one day, one night, will heal. Let us stand now as you feel so moved in body, mind, or spirit, as we extinguish our chalice and prepare to sing our closing hymn. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of love, the warmth of... Man, I'm messing it up. Action. Each other in our hearts until we meet again. Let us sing. It's meditation on breathing. If you know the various parts, you are invited to sing those. And I'll give it over to John to show us how.
I was thinking we would do this. It's pretty short. We're going to do it 6 times through. The first 2 times we'll sing the melody. The second 2 times we'll do the descant together. And then for the last 2 times you can pick whatever part you like and we'll put them all together. 1009. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Shine upon you. Be gracious unto you and bring you. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Please be seated for the postlude.